The latest changes in the United Kingdom visa regime has sparked massive outrage in India. From November this year, visitors from some non-white Commonwealth countries like India that are deemed high risk by UK authorities will be forced to pay a whopping £3,000. That translates to about 2.8 lakh rupees. That's a cash bond that you'll have to furnish before you get a UK visa. The UK government has included India in a list of so-called high-risk Asian and African countries whose citizens are required to deposit that cash bond when they apply. The money will be forfeit if they overstay. The controversial move is targeted only at people from 6 countries and is a part of David Cameron-led the Tory government's attempts to drastically cut down on immigration levels. Well, the British High Commission in Delhi has told NDTV that this will be on a trial basis to see if it can work. Everyone applying for a tourist visa will not be asked to furnish this bond. It won't be thousands of applicants, but just a few hundred who the High Commission believe are at high risk of not returning or of violating norms. These are the people who will be asked to furnish this bond. This applies, as we said, to 6 countries. But we're asking tonight, is this still discriminatory, at least in some respects? Also, this was a proposal that was first proposed 10 years ago. It was canned then. Why has it been brought out again now? And what are the political implications of that? Joining us on this discussion at the moment, Pramit Pal Chaudhary and Padma Rao. Padma Rao, let me come to you first. Is there something discriminatory about the very idea of a bond as a surety for visitors only from some countries?
Well, the thing is that I think we all know that there is a problem there. There have been people sort of stowaways sitting inside airplanes trying to get from one country to another. This has happened, and there are some countries from where people perhaps sort of try to do this much more than in other countries. But certainly I think that these are different times. I think the United Kingdom should get a bit real, in the sense that these are, it's no longer a one-way traffic. It's not as if, Indians are just traveling to the United Kingdom or just aiming to get there. They're going everywhere, and I think right now, given the recession in Europe and the United Kingdom, I think, it's actually much more the other way around.
Have the Indian tourist money, and it should be considerable.
Absolutely. And not only that, there's been a lot of film shooting, and Bollywood spends a lot of money there, and there's been massive tourism going there. So, and also, what interests me is that on what are the criteria that they're going to apply? It's very easy to say that, we're not going to discriminate against everyone. The best and the brightest we will still attract. Now, how do you tell the best and the brightest? Do they have that written all over their faces? Surely there must be some sort of criteria.
Right.
And I simply think
I think that's an important point you're making, and let me take this across to Lord Meghnad Desai now joining us on the phone line from London. Lord Meghnad, isn't this kind of discriminatory in the fact that in a sense it will be the wallets of people that will determine whether or not they can in fact be deemed high risk or not?
Well, one of the problems is that the UK has a big debate going on right now on immigration. Maybe because of the recession, whatever it is. And immigration from within the European Union cannot be controlled. So the only immigration which can be controlled are people coming from outside the European Union. And the largest number and proportion come from South Asia. So in a sense, that is the one big thing people are, and I think the policy is completely wrong. Let me begin to say that. But the reason why they're doing it is that quite a lot of people come on a some sort of temporary visa and then disappear, because there are large diaspora population. You can easily shield your cousin or your nephew, whatever it is, and then they get into the illegal thing and into the economy. So one of the things that people are doing is try and police that. And I think someone thought maybe if you ask for a £3,000 bond, then only rich will be able to afford it. Of course, you get the money back when you return, according to regulations. But that's still you're lending the British government £3,000 for the privilege of coming in. Now, I think one thing India could do would be offer reciprocal concessions, because it's very difficult for British businessmen to come to India. It's extremely difficult because they want to come twice. There has to be a big gap between 2 visits and so on. I mean, India doesn't make it easy for British people to come to India either.
But that's
So
not
I
really
think
what this
rather
is
than-
about, Lord Desai, is it?
Sorry?
That's not really what this new visa policy seems to be
No,
about.
I said first of all, it is a political debate. Immigration is very unpopular of all kinds, and it is directed against Indians because they are the largest immigrants to UK. But what I'm saying, one way for UK for India to negotiate on this would be to say, okay, would you like concessions on British businessmen traveling to India or British students traveling to India? All these things are very difficult. British students cannot come to India very easily. So in a sense, there is asymmetry here. India wants concessions, but doesn't want to give concessions.